Peter Elstrom, 31 years of friendship. The flood of memories that I've had as I sat down to think of those 31 years has been truly amazing. I cannot remember one bad memory, or one time you and I have been angry with one another. That's crazy. Now, some of these memories have been controversial in the past, but since you are now truly old with a failing memory, I am sure you will trust my memory on all of what I am about to say. Don't worry, Deanna, I've edited myself, so these are safe for viewing by all. Hopefully, they are not too many. The college years, soccer and basketball, and more soccer and more basketball. The first time we met, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do, since I think I've told you about a half a dozen times. I remember how it was my first day of practice before our freshman year. I'd come late, you were already in practice, and it was the first day that I was there. It was a hot August day, we had finished practice. I was going back to where I was staying, and I was in the big black LTD, and you were walking down the street, and you had this really heavy sweater on, long jeans, and clogs. And I said, hey, let's see where's he going? So I stopped and asked you if you wanted a ride, where you were going, and you said you were mailing a letter downtown Evanston. And I took you downtown, and I remember thinking in the car that this is a cool kid, and we should get to be friends. And that's what happened. New student week, you and I lived right near each other, and I remember every night, new student week, you and I going to these different fraternities and going and seeing the most amazing things that I have ever seen in my life up to that point, where it was a party after party, but just the most expensive, lavish things, concerts and poker night, and all these things that we had never seen before, that I had never seen before. Now, you and I couldn't partake in many of these things because we were training and we were in soccer, but we still had an amazing time. And I also remember that I talked you out of pledging SIU before, in fall, when we were in our fall quarter. And then maybe thinking to myself, I made a mistake when you pledged SAE in the spring quarter. In our freshman year, I remember that car ride one weekend when you and I decided to write a paper and just get away from Northwestern. We were going to go to my grandparents, who half the time were in Florida, and we were in that big LTD, and we were driving down McCormick Avenue, and we stopped at a stoplight, and lo and behold, next to us in a car were two pretty women, and we heard a sss, and you rolled down your window and said, hey, I think something wrong with your tire, trying to be very nice, and we would help them, of course, and they looking at each other, and then looking at our tire and saying, no, it's not our car, it's your car. And yeah, it was our car. The tire had a flat, and we had to roll into a restaurant, and we had to change the tire. Fast forward to our senior year, and watching the longest hockey game in history with Leaves. Now, you were watching the condo of the kid's mom, or the kid that you were a part of. You were Big Brother. You were in Big Brother, Big Sister, and you were Little Brother. You became very friendly with the mom. And I remember this condo with doors that were glass, and I remember sitting there watching this game. At a certain point, you took us to a Chinese restaurant to get food. We came back, and it was the 5 overtime game, and I am not a hockey fan. It's something that I will always remember. Was the New York Islanders versus the Washington Senators, and when you, myself, and Leaves get together, we always talk about this. An amazing memory, except there's one problem, is you don't remember it. So that's where that old man's coming into play. But I'm sure you'll trust Leaves and I, because we have vivid memories of that night and the details of the place that you were staying at. Again, fast forward, the summer after my first year of medical school and college, we were all in Chicago, and that was truly magic. We would hang out every night, you, me, Melanie, Farah, and a bunch of our friends. We would go to Rush Street, we would go soccer on the lakefront, we'd play a tremendous amount of basketball, and just experiences and times that were truly amazing. You working at Cranes and living near Water Tower, and me visiting you every time I came into Chicago. And that condo just really was you, I thought, for a long time. It just fits you at that time of your life. I remember you and I walking over to downtown Northwestern and playing basketball with the medical students and the law students and having a great time and just enjoying the heck out of it. Fast forward even more. About 12 years ago, when my family visiting you and Deanna in Ann Arbor and went to play basketball, we were about 37 years old, around there. And we just played some pickup, we were just shooting, and then there were just some college kids who thought they were all that. And they wanted to play us. And at first we were down maybe 3-0 or something, and they had this very cocky attitude about it. And then all of a sudden, you and I just kicked it in and really kicked their butts. And I remember Deanna saying when we were walking back, she looked and she said that she just knew that we were going to win when we started playing. And that's what it always has been with us, mostly. So when you and I play basketball or soccer together, usually we do win. And it's always been a lot of fun to do it because we do it, you know, as true partners, me assisting, you scoring usually, because you know you can never, ever give up a shot. Guys trips. Now the one that you planned, that was at Pebble Beach, and normally we have a bike riding experience that's kind of adventurous, but not ridiculous. Well, then there's Peter Elstrom's bike trip that he planned. 7 miles straight up at a 45-degree angle. I remember you telling me, Weiss, keep your ass in the seat. And I made it. Now, others of our party made it, but they suffered a lot more. I remember Bruce getting off the bike and throwing up. And I remember Stosh going about 50 miles an hour on the way down because that's Stosh, and crashing, and thankfully not hurting himself too badly. And also that same trip, you decided that we'd go kayaking. And I remember Liebs and I in our kayak getting attacked by a sea monster and being freaked out by it. Fast forward even more, when Melanie and I visited you and your family in New York, and that was truly neat to see you and your family. What can I say? You and I and our friends are a band of brothers, and I feel very lucky to call you my friend. So here's to you, Peter Elstrom. 50 is the new 30. Here's to another 50. Happy birthday.